I was chronically ill with a digestive disorder that was incurable. And I was searching for 10 years for a solution. I tried everything, acupuncture, medication, all sorts of different therapies. Then I was experimenting with some frequency technologies. I created my own device from using my engineering background and programming background. And I created this device and I used it and tested it on myself. Initially, I just wanted something to help me get into deeper states of meditation. But what I got was not just deeper state of meditation, I actually healed myself in 90 days. There's been many different studies done by people all around the world on pulse electromagnetic field therapy. It's basically just another thing that we receive from nature that our body needs.
Hello, welcome to Dr. Joy Kong Show. So as you know, this show is about health, wellness, inspirations, and creativity and happiness. So today I am so excited to talk with David Wong. I met him not too long ago, but I was very intrigued about what he's bringing to the marketplace. He's an entrepreneur, musician, engineer, and he has brought something that's really unique and really valuable to help everybody achieve better health and more happiness. So I want to welcome you, David, to be on the show.
Thanks, Joy. Glad to be here.
Yes. I'm so intrigued because you are the inventor of what's called Qi Coil. So when I heard you talking about it, I just thought, okay, everybody can benefit from this. And I read some of the reviews online about your product. Some people's pet were getting great benefits, and it's just wonderful. What you're making such contribution. So you named your device Qi Coil. And of course, you and I are both Chinese descendants, so we know what Qi is the essence of life. And you're also a martial artist, right? So can you tell me a little bit about how you came up with Qi Coil?
Well, I was chronically ill with a digestive disorder that was incurable. And I was searching for 10 years for a solution. I tried everything, acupuncture, medication, all sorts of different therapies. And I almost gave up. And I couldn't hear myself. I was suffering every day. Then I was experimenting with some frequency technologies and I started using it. And long story short, I created my own device because all the other devices out there were really hard to use and they didn't work that well. I created my own device from using my engineering background and programming background. And I created this device and I used it and tested it on myself. Initially, I just wanted something to help me get into deeper states of meditation. But what I got was not just deeper state of meditation, I actually healed myself in 90 days. So to my surprise, I said, whoa, when I first turned it on, I felt something in my gut I never felt before with anything else I did. So I stopped all the medications. I stopped all the other therapies I was doing, and I just did frequency therapy. That's all I did. And I was healed after 90 days. So after that, I said, wow, I gotta get my mom to use this. I gotta get my dad to use this. I gotta get my family to use this. And then just went from there. My mom had a stroke a couple of years back, and she had severe pain on the left side of her body. And the moment she used the Chi Coil in 5 minutes, the pain went down 60 to 80%. And then she was able to walk a lot better. And just recently, she just started driving again, which is crazy because, she couldn't even walk that well before.
And how long has she been using Qi Coil?
She's been using it for 2 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you given diagnoses as far as your digestive issues?
Yes. Yeah, I was diagnosed.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And you tried other devices, the other PEMF devices, right? These energy frequency devices, and before Qi Coil, correct? Or
yeah, I was trying different devices. I was just getting into this technology. I didn't try that many, but I would try some similar devices to PEMF therapy. I'm familiar with Rife technology, Rife machines. So they use radio frequencies to generate radio waves and frequencies to your body. PEMF, actually, I didn't even know about PEMF when I created the Qi coils. It's after I started, developing further, then I realized, oh, there's actually other stuff out there that are using this technology, and it's actually called PEMF. So so it kind of went backwards.
Yeah. So then after you designed your device, I'm sure you went back to compare with other PMF devices. What was your impression after the comparison?
Well, yeah, afterwards I started using some mats, PMF mats, PMF rings or PMF pads and things like that. And there's just no comparison, right? I have a whole video that explains like, the difference between Qi coils and other PMF devices. First of all, Chi Coil is not just PMF. There's about 5 different technologies inside the Chi coils. There is PMF. There's Rife frequencies, which we have 10,000 of them, 10,000 programs. There's also crystal resonance therapy, okay? And there's also sound therapy. So we combine many different modalities into one system. Whereas a PMF mat, there's no sound therapy. You can't listen to anything. There's no crystals. There's no right frequencies. Most PMF mats will have maybe 10 to 20 frequencies in the VLF range, a very low frequency range. And it works really well. There's a lot of studies done on that, but that's just one technology. Another thing with PMF devices, most of them are mats or pads. There's some other ones, but most of them are mats and pads. And what those are is you have to lie on them and you have to make contact with them. So you don't, I mean, you may not necessarily be sleeping or taking a nap whenever you're using the technology. So what we have is something that's contactless. You don't need to make any contact. You can simply put it on the desk in front of you when you work and you're receiving the therapy. You can simply put it on your coffee table and the people around your living area will be receiving the therapy. So it's contactless. It's very mobile. They get even smaller than this. We have a mini. This is the 3 and this is the max. So they have different sizes. And it's very compact. You can carry with you. You can't bring a mat with you to go to the gym or do yoga or go for a walk. But these ones you can put in your pocket, put it in your purse, and you can go for a walk. So
yeah, and what's the range? How far away can you be from the device and still receive benefits?
yeah, it depends on the size. So starting with our minis, we'll go about 3 feet, 3 feet in radius, and all the way up to our maxes, which is about 20 feet. So it'll cover a whole room.
Yeah, wonderful. So maybe for listeners who don't really understand what PMF is, or just the frequency technology, maybe you could give them a crash course of why that's so beneficial for human health.
Right. Okay. So NASA did a study about in 2003, and what they found was that when the astronauts were in space, they were further away from the Earth's magnetic field. So they had very little magnetic energy from Earth. And the longer they stayed in space, their bone density started to drop, right? Because they don't have enough gravity. So they tried everything. They exercised intensely and they took supplements, but the bone density kept dropping until they started to implement something like this. Well, it's probably something like this, not the Qi Coil itself, but they used an electromagnetic emitter, and they emulated the frequency of Earth's magnetic field using just the device. So now the astronauts, when they're in the space station, they would receive this energy field. And what happened was that they actually became healthier. They also did studies on cell regeneration, and they found that cell regeneration increased 40% just from using this energy field. So since then, there's been many different studies done by people all around the world on pulse electromagnetic field therapy. It's basically just another thing that we receive from nature that our body needs, right? Like not only do we need to breathe air all the time or drink or eat, we actually need Earth's magnetic field in order to be mentally healthy and also be generally healthy.
Yeah, yeah. I think energy medicine is, along with stem cell therapy, I think is the future of medicine. I do think stem cell therapy in a way is energy therapy because DNA is the most energy dense substance in the universe. And when we give people cells that contains DNA, the intelligence, which is energy itself, the intelligence contained is going to, bring about profound change. And energy medicine, I think it's just becoming to be truly recognized because I think more and more people are accepting that we are energy beings. And I think ancient people have recognized that, which came about, we're talking about the device called Qi Coil. And Qi, of course, is the energy and essence in Chinese. Was there a particular reason you brought that in to name your device?
Well, because that's exactly what it is. Like people are talking about, combining and fusing the ancient and the spiritual with science and the modern, right? So I've done that. I've successfully done that with this technology. I've been able to create these coils, and we have something called the yin and yang effect. So you look at some of the coils, they go in different directions. So this one is a yin, and then the other one that goes in another direction, we have it over there, see on the shelf. That one is yang. And if you meditate and if you're sensitive, you can feel the difference. So the yin would be expansive and opening, and the yang would be focusing and energizing. So when you use them together and you're in the middle, you'll feel this really profound balance, and calmness. And everybody who meditates can feel that. So, and it's just based on technology. And I created this idea just from meditating, and I just used my intuition to create this device and design them like that. It's not until later I found out that in the ancient texts, that's exactly what they said yin and yang would do. With
So if a person wants to get the yin and yang, I mean, they have to get both, right? I mean, does a person need to get both to stay balanced?
It would help. If you use the yin, most people will use the yin. That's what you would use most of the time, because I think most people are just stressed out and in tension all the time. So they need to relax and they need to expand and meditate. So the yin helps you do that. The yang is good for focus, for intense focus. So if you're exercising, you want to get into a weight loss program, you want to get more from your physical exertion, then you would use the yang, right? If you want to really get into the zone for meditating, and you use both at the same time. So the three have different effects.
I see. And you have a range of products. So I know there's one that's very large. It's good for covering the entire house.
Yeah, you see this one here. It's called the Coil Med Bed System. This is actually the 14-inch. We actually have one twice as big as that, and that would cover the area of a whole house. Or you can put it under a bed, and you would basically turn any bed into a med bed. So you hear about these med beds that people spend like $20,000 or $30,000 to get. Well, now you can just spend a fraction of that and turn any bed into a med bed. Right? Who wants to, it took me a long time to find a good bed that actually is comfortable, right? So many people may not want to buy a completely new bed and try to adjust their back to it. It's not a good idea. So you can use your own bed and then just add this underneath and then turn it into a med bed.
Under the bed, you mean not under the mattress? You just put it under the bed.
Yeah. So most people have a bed frame and they have space under the bed, right? So you can just flip it under there and play it, and then now you have med bed.
Yeah, that's great. Oh, my kitties would be very, very happy and healthy.
Your cats.
And I know you've developed this really cool app that actually that's how the Chi Coil is used, right? It's connected to your phone, and then you can play different apps. Can you talk a little bit about how the app works?
Yeah, so the app, there's two apps right now. One is called the Chi Coil app. It looks like this. And these will have what we call the quantum and higher quantum frequencies. I'll explain in a second. So the other one is called the Rife app. It looks like this, and these have Rife frequencies. So there's a difference between the two different kind of frequencies. Rife frequencies will be like single frequencies, right? So like, let's say it's 40, and that's one frequency, right? The higher quantum, we use the harmonics. So we use multiple frequencies at the same time. We use different patterns and rhythmic modulations and things like that, and there's actually quite a complex way that we create these frequencies using brainwave sampling and molecular mapping. I won't get into the geeky stuff, but basically they are just way more dimensions. Like let's say you listening to just one note. This would be like listening to a whole symphony orchestra playing at the same time.
All right. So how does somebody know whether or not to use the quantum program or the Rife program?
You can use both. So the Rife program is has 10,000 different frequencies. So if you have any kind of issue that you want to deal with, that you want to get help with, you can just search it into our program. So there's 10,000 different programs you can search. So for example, if we type sleep, there'll be about 6 programs that you can use. Now the Chi Coil one, people say is more of a spiritual type of app, because we have frequencies for remove negative energy, frequencies for enlighten, meditate, and abundance. So it's more spiritually oriented, but there are also some very special frequencies in here. For example, there's supplements and substances like DMT and that are not on the other app. So these,
because I saw you talking about DMT, so that's actually in the program.
yeah, so we have a DMT program in here. And how we made that, we actually take the molecular structure of DMT, and then we calculate all the angles and all the different molecular weights, and then we convert it into a frequency.
So what's your experience when you were playing DMT frequencies?
It's a little bit trippy. It's different, different for everybody. Probably not as strong as actually, taking DMT if you can get it, but this is the audio representation of it, and also we have a coil representation. So on the app, I'm looking for the DMT one. It's right here. Okay, so you see this one is DMT, spirit molecule. So you tap into that, and then it's downloading all those frequencies now. And on here, there's 16 different frequencies. So there'll be 8 of them that are for audio, right? And then about 5 of them that you use for the coil. So it's makes a difference.
Oh, so the app, you can choose to just do audio or choose to play with the coil.
That's right. So that's what's special about the Chi Coil app, is all the frequencies are also sound therapy frequencies as well. Which the Rife app is more for using it only with the coil.
I see. Okay, very interesting. So you're combining all these different technologies, and what I mean, I've seen hundreds and hundreds of reviews, glowing reviews about your device online. And what kind of benefits have you seen that's stuck in your mind about what people have noticed?
There's so many. I think a lot of people get the coil for many reasons. Number one is sleep, anxiety, and stress. So some kind of mental health that they need to improve. And this works really well for that without any medication. That's it. And then a lot of people take medication, is not helping them. So that's why they use the coils, because they tried everything and nothing's working. They use the coils, and we get reviews like, oh, okay, I can finally sleep a good night's sleep, or the whole family is now sleeping. I don't have depression anymore. I feel like such a good mood. I have so much more energy. So there's that. And then there's the healing aspect, or the wellness aspect. A lot of people have certain conditions and health conditions that they've been dealing with chronically that they haven't been able to get any solution for, and this helps them get over that hurdle, because I think a lot of what I was missing is just that extra kick of energy, just extra kick of chi energy to kick my body back into healing, in the healing mode. Because when you're sick, and when I was sick, I was just so tired, and my energy was so sucked out from me from my disease. And then every day it was just such a battle just to get your brain to work. I had so much brain fog, and just get your body to work. I couldn't even focus for more than an hour a day. And I just needed that extra kick that would get me, into the positive, instead of keeping me in the negative. Right. That's what really made a difference for me. And then that's what the frequencies did for me. It gave me that extra something that nothing else gave me. to to start the going back upwards, right? Because there's so many things. Whenever you, especially if you're sick, it's you kind of get into a spiral of sickness, and then especially with the food that we have nowadays, with the GMOs and stuff like that, it's very hard to, especially with a digestive problem, it's very hard to pick and eat the right foods so that you don't get worse, because you're basically sensitive to everything. And so that was a big challenge. It was really hard because you can't eat the stuff that you want to eat. You have to be very selective what you want to eat. But now I eat, basically I can eat anything. I can eat spicy food, have no problem at all. That would be unheard of. If I did that like 4 years ago, I know I was still sick, 4 or 5 years ago, I would basically be suffering for a week. And then I would have to spend another 2 to 3 weeks trying to heal myself using curves and stuff like that to get me back to like level 3 out of 10 in health. And now I'm at a point where I don't have to worry about it. I'm normal and I'm totally healed. So that's just my story. So we have lots of people like that have chronic issues that they've been dealing with. I'm not saying that this can heal anything, right? I cannot say that. It's not a medical device, but that's just the stories we're getting. I'm just telling you my personal story of what it did for me, is that these frequencies give me what I needed to heal, and nothing else did. And that's a story that everybody else seems to be telling us.
Yeah. That's so wonderful to hear. And how often should a person use the device? I mean, basically, is there a threshold and a recommended frequency to use?
Right. So we use the term dosage when we take medicine, right? There's a similar kind of dosage when you use the coils. So a higher dosage would mean just using it longer, or a higher dosage would mean just turning up the power, so increasing the strength of the magnetic field. So depending on how sensitive you are to electromagnetic fields, then you'll need a stronger or lower dose. Okay, so that's different for everybody. Some people have very low sensitivity, so they'll need to turn it up higher and use it longer. Some people are highly sensitive, like myself, and I don't need to use it that long for it to make a difference. So it really depends. But I would say if you're starting out, I would use it for like 20 minutes on low to medium power, and for a day, and then start and see how that goes first.
Okay. Is it if you're trying to help a particular area of the body, is it better to just put it on that part of the body?
Yeah, you would do that, right? So let's say you have some shoulder pain, you would put it in your shoulder and just leave it there. You have a stomach ache, you put it on your tummy. Hand pain. My dog, every time my dog, let's say, sprained his leg or something like that, or had some kind of injury, I would use this and then just put it near him where he's sleeping, and then they recover a lot faster. We don't need any antibiotics or painkillers and things like that, because that's what they prescribe you, right? And the vet, whenever you go to the vet, they say, okay, here's painkillers, here's antibiotics, and you want an X-ray too. But they don't actually do anything to really fix this, unless they do surgery, right? But you don't want to do surgery. So the coils are just like a lifesaver and a money saver when it comes to pets. Like we've been able to fix so many things with our dogs just using the coils.
Amazing. Yeah. What a nice thing to have, as a tool. So when you were designing this device, how were you inspired as far as the shape, and how did you come up with the different shapes?
Well, this is called a toroid, right? A toroid. So you see, there's a lot of research done into fusion reactors. For example, there's a fusion reactor called the tokamak, and it's shaped like a toroid. And they use that shape specifically because they found that shape is able to generate unlimited energy. If you look at the shape of the Earth's magnetic field is also in the toroid. If you measure the shape of the magnetic field of your heart or your body, it's also in the toroid. So this is a natural shape that occurs for electromagnetic field. So I decided, why not create something that mimics what nature has already?
So you did testing that whatever sound or frequency was sent through, you found that it was magnified through this device.
Well, okay, you see, there's people that make electromagnetic devices, but they don't make it like this. What they'll do is they'll probably use a flat pancake to create a field. And when you do that, your field will be about like 50 to 100 times less
Hmm.
less strong, less amplitude. Just by using this shape, this creates a very focused magnetic field that's much higher than just using just a two-dimensional design. So not only is it shape in nature, but actually functionally, this has a much stronger and more intense field than other designs.
So interesting. Yeah, I actually bought a beamer mat and bought the other mat. So I've been using it in my clinic. But I liked your analogy of what you were talking about, how when technology progressed, what started out as a gigantic thing like the computer or a phone, nowadays could be, a very tiny device. So, and that's what you believe is happening with this frequency device, right? Instead of
Exactly. So
this
so one of
gigantic.
the first ones that I was working with was the oral coils, the larger ones. But then I said, well, how is someone going to carry this with them? I need to make something that's a lot smaller and more portable. So that's how I created the Qi coils. And now these are the fourth generation of them. So we've done a lot of improvements, and they look really cool. And we have crystals inside of there, and these are patent pending. So we've done a lot of work since the original idea.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And what kind of advice do you give to people as far as which product to choose? Should people get the yin and yang, or should they just get a simple one? Of course, the big one, I understand that's beneficial because the field is so strong, you can put it under your bed. But how do you advise people as far as choosing a good device for themselves?
Right. Yeah. So if you go to the store on the front page, you're going to see four models: the mini, the 2S, the 3S, and the max. So as I mentioned before, they're just different in size and different in the strength of the magnetic field. So you're just starting out. If you just want something to try out and you want something that's small and compact, then you would just get the mini, and it's 2.5 inches big. It's about this big, if you can see. So 2.5 inches in diameter, easily fit into any pocket, and it still has a pretty good field, about 3 feet in diameter. So that's the entry level. The step up from there is the 2S, which is 3 inches, so about a little bit smaller than this one, and that one is like the standard model, and it has about about 8 to 9 feet range. And then after that will be this one, which is the 3S, and this one will have about 11 feet range. And also this one has the crystals inside. There's 3 quantanium crystals. So if you actually take off all the wires, they look like this.
Hmm.
And so that's the crystalline orgone. And then you can't really see from all the patterning, but there's actually holes here where we insert those crystals. So they'll have those crystals. And the reason we have crystals in there is because these crystals can hold memory, just like your computer chips hold memory. All crystals actually hold resonance and hold vibration and frequencies. So even if you're not powering the coils, after you use them, you would have programmed these crystals with whatever frequencies you're using. So that's pretty cool.
Hmm.
And then the next level up will be the max, which is 5 inches. It's a lot bigger. You can see a lot thicker and a lot bigger. They have 2 layers of winding instead of just one. So these can go up to 20 feet. So a small room will be good. The only thing is that they're pretty big, so not portable.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you think listeners should know about, this device and what it can do to help them?
I think it's definitely something that you should give a try. If you already try, have some kind of frequency therapy device, if you have a PEMF therapy device, then suggest you give this a try. This is going to be whatever you experience plus a whole lot more, plus a whole different dimension more. If you done any kind of Rife frequency therapy, this is literally the best Rife frequency device on the market right now. We actually have one of our team members. His name is Matthew Rife. He's actually the great nephew of Dr. Royal Rife from the 1950s. He's a Rife technology engineer, and he's working with us. So we literally have the best Rife technology with this coil because we're using electromagnetic fields, we're using contactless fields, we're using an app. Most of the Rife machines you see on the market are basically they have very, very low power that you have to connect it to your wrist. They're like TENS machines. You need to stick stickers onto your skin and send electrical current to your skin. If you take the stickers off, it doesn't work. So like you have to connect all these wires to yourself and stick these pads on your body. Um, just not that convenient, right? You're not going to be doing yoga with that on. You're not going to,
And I
even
think
when
they're extremely expensive too, these Rife machines.
some of them are, some of them are not.
Okay.
But it's just the technology, just the output is just so low. A lot
Yeah.
of them very complicated to use. Some of the older ones are very complicated to use. There's so many switches and buttons, and you have to dial the frequencies. And yeah, some of
Maybe
them.
that's what I saw in the clinic, that it's very complex, takes, like a year of training to really be
Yeah,
familiarized.
it's not user friendly. Let's just say that. So we have basically the world's simplest and the most effective and easy to use Five machine,
Yeah.
hands down, hands down. So if you're you have a rice machine before, you know somebody use it, and you want to try something that is like state of the art, then this is another way to do that. Um, so I mentioned earlier that there's mental health, and then there's like um, health conditions, but there's also the meditative and spiritual aspect.
Mhm.
With these coils, what happens is that not only do you energize your body, you actually start to activate certain parts of your chakra. You actually be able to activate your pineal gland
Hmm.
inside of your brain. If you don't know what a pineal gland is a little tiny gland in the center of your brain that produces what is it, DMT, right? So it actually
Mhm.
produces a molecule that is attributed to intuition, attributed to dreams, having more creativity, having more like visualization and things like that. So technically speaking, more spiritually speaking, it opens your third eye. It actually helps you to be more psychic, more telepathic, if you believe in that stuff, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes when you're like thinking of a song and then that song starts to play, or sometimes when you're thinking of a person and that person text messages you, so,
If you want to gain such powers.
but we've all had that experience, right? So how does that happen? Is it just by coincidence, or do we actually have some kind of like, supernatural power? So I don't know. I'll let you decide.
Yeah,
But
right.
but what you'll find is that by using these, you start to have like more awareness. Your awareness starts to expand. You're like more. You can see more colors when you go walk around. You can hear fainter noises. You can smell more. Your senses start to actually enhance, just like Spider-Man or something. And
Yeah. So really, that's like being infused with chi, with life force, right? I
yeah.
think these are some of the benefits that I knew about, heard about, from Qigong, because growing up in China, people
Mhm.
started talking about using Qigong and how that enhances every aspect of their lives, including spiritual awakening. So that's literally what you were describing.
Exactly. Yeah. And people have thought of chi as just some kind of esoteric thing that doesn't really exist or just based on imagination. But now I actually have a technology that you can measure. It's empirical. You can see the results. You can see the results. You turn it on and a person gets energized. You switch the frequency and a person gets sleepy. You switch it back and the person gets energized and he gets sleepy and energized and back and forth. Right? It's like a switch. So when I tell people, it's like, what's Qi Coil? I can sum it into two things. Number one, it is like a wireless charger for your body.
Mm.
You know how phones can charge wirelessly and just put it on a plate and then it charges?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. It's like a wireless charger in your body. You just need to be near it and then your cells automatically get charged up. You get more energy. The second way is like the Spotify for your mind. Right, you know, in so like Spotify, you choose your mood, right? Oh, I want to listen to some relaxing music. I want some like workout music. I want this and that, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. So you can use our app. You can choose whatever emotion, whatever feeling, whatever spiritual enlightenment you want. You turn on that coil, and now it's like Spotify for your mind. You can choose whatever you want. You can regulate your mood. You can regulate your spiritual experience with the technology.
Yeah, this is wonderful. And I'm so excited. I'm just showed it. So I just got this today in the mail. I'm really, really excited to try this. You know, who doesn't need enhancements, right? Yeah. So I thank you so much for coming on the show. I think you provided wealth of information, and you're going to help so many people. So thank you for your tenacity and for you using your creativity and talents to bring this into the world.
You're welcome. And I'm looking forward to helping you and helping all your audience to transform their lives and become the most that they can be.
Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to wrap up the show. I'm just going to tell everybody, if you have been enjoying this content, please like and subscribe, because we are going to keep inviting incredible guests like David and bring you interesting, innovative technology and information to help you enhance your health and make your life happier. So thank you for listening.